CD Projekt Red has done it again. Just when we thought Cyberpunk 2077 had reached the end of its post-launch content journey, Update 2.3 comes roaring into view. What was once seen as a final goodbye is now turning into a victory lap for this game. It launched back on July 17th for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series XS consoles, with the Nintendo Switch 2 version of the update arriving a bit later. This update proves there's still some gas though left in the tank for Night City. The update of course was originally slated for release on June 26, but CD Projekt Red ultimately decided to delay it to make sure that they were fully satisfied with the final version of the update. And with Cyberpunk 2077 now available on PlayStation Plus and their subscription, it's also perfect timing to hook new players and re-energize returning ones. Let's go over everything that was added in Update 2.3 for Cyberpunk 2077. But before we get into it, if you enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all the latest Cyberpunk news. And if you're interested, consider becoming a member on the channel for early access on every video, members only content, your name in the credits, the ability to write in and have your comments featured, and access to the Discord community. Update 2.3 for Cyberpunk 2077 centers heavily on vehicles, and not just cosmetic tweaks of course. We're talking about 3 brand new vehicles being added to the game and 1 sleek new motorcycle. So I had originally typed up the names of all the new vehicles and motorcycle in this update, but I can't really pronounce all of them, but they do look really cool. If I can find some good pictures of them, you'll be seeing them on screen, but yeah, one of them looks like a modified sort of new version of the Rayfield Caliburn, which is personally my favorite car in the game, mainly because it handles the best, but it does look really cool. And this new version of the car is really interesting looking. And the motorcycle, the one being added in the update, is supposed to be the first ever customized motorcycle in the game. And that's really cool. Hopefully they add even more vehicle customization later down the road in future updates. To get behind the wheel of these new vehicles, players will first need to complete small quests tied to each vehicle. But don't worry, these quests are easy to find and don't count toward 100% game completion. And these aren't just reskins either for the new vehicles. One of them, for example, is inspired by the Cyberpunk 2077 Kickdown comic, and the new motorcycle isn't just flashy, it's functional. All 4 new vehicles being added to the game feel distinct and fit right into the gritty, neon-lit world of Cyberpunk. If you ever wanted to make your ride truly feel like yours, this update is definitely for you. CD Projekt Red has expanded the crystal coat and twin tone customization systems introduced in earlier patches. Now, players can instantly scan a car on the street and apply that color scheme to their own vehicle. We're talking about 205 generic paint jobs now and 168 unique ones now in the game's rotation. And this feature applies to motorcycles too. It's a small touch of course that adds a whole lot of flair, and hopefully they add even more vehicle customization to the game, or at least add it in Cyberpunk 2 in some way. But seeing a car with a crazy pattern and knowing that you can take that design and now apply it to your own garage adds an immersive, futuristic vibe that fits Cyberpunk's tone perfectly. Say goodbye to manual driving, or at least give your thumbs a break. The new Autodrive feature being added to Cyberpunk 2077 lets players hop into any owned vehicle, set a destination, and just enjoy the ride. I do hope that the AI with this works pretty well, because I have not tried it yet, but I have seen some people complain about it. But this new system is supposed to follow traffic laws and is designed to stop at red lights, and if you're attacked along the way, Autodrive will be disabled so that you can jump into combat immediately. There's even a wandering mode if you don't set a waypoint on your map for free roaming drives around Night City, perfect for relaxing and listening to your radio or capturing footage. And if you want a more hands-on experience, you can now summon a Delamain taxi to ferry you around Night City. It's like the city's version of Uber, only your driver is a slightly unhinged AI, especially if you play the side quest, you know what I'm talking about. And I believe you also have to finish the side quest line to actually unlock this feature. But the new features around auto driving and the Delamain taxis, at least the developers have said, was inspired by players posting cinematic driving videos on YouTube, and now CDPR is giving fans the tools to make those moments even better. Update 2.3 also supercharges Cyberpunk 2077's already impressive photo mode. A new tab lets players manipulate times of day and weather for the perfect shot. 27 new NPCs have also been added as photo companions, most with alternate outfits, and you can now control their poses and where they're looking. Add in new stickers, frames, improved depth of field settings, and custom color balance tools, and you've got what might now be the most feature-rich photo mode in any RPG. And just to show how much CD Projekt Red loves the community's creativity online, they're teasing a new photo mode contest as well. Probably keep an eye on their socials if you're interested in that. PC and console players alike are getting love in this patch as well. On PC, Cyberpunk 2077 now supports AMD's FSR 3.1 frame generation and Intel's XeSS 2.0 tech. With support for FSR 4.0 coming in a future AMD driver update, HDR10 Plus is now properly supported as well. And with all of these new technical features, console players aren't left behind in this. Variable refresh rate, or VRR, is being added on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles, smoothing out gameplay and reducing screen tearing while you play through Night City. These upgrades are obviously in the background and might not be as flashy, but they make a big difference for immersion and visual clarity while you're playing through Cyberpunk 2077. Another little change that they made in this update is players can now have the option to tell Johnny Silverhand to get out of their car if he's riding shotgun and getting on their nerves. It's the kind of quirky update that doesn't change much gameplay, of course, but adds personality and player control to the game, something Cyberpunk 2077 has always thrived on. There's also a ton of behind-the-scenes fixes and quality of life updates, from improved HDR settings and bug fixes to minor polish on quests and UI. CD Projekt Red is still actively sanding down the rough edges of Cyberpunk 2077, and hopefully they continue to do it in future updates. I know some people had their hopes really high and were basically wanting a new game from this update, but we should probably keep our expectations in check. They've said that the scope for update 2.3 was going to be the same as 2.1 and 2.2, so for future updates 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, etc., you should probably expect the same scope, small features that add some quality of life to the game. Despite the patch's scope, one commonly requested feature in Cyberpunk 2077 is still missing, and that's New Game Plus mode. In the past, CD Projekt Red has of course ruled it out, saying they wouldn't add it to the game, and update 2.3 obviously doesn't include it as well. I will say that the PC mod for New Game Plus runs amazingly, and I would love if they would actually add it natively into the game, but if you're holding out hope for them to actually add New Game Plus to Cyberpunk 2077, I wouldn't hold your breath. It's probably not happening. For now, replaying the game means starting from scratch. Maybe they add New Game Plus in Cyberpunk 2, but with all of the new content, that's not such a bad deal, especially if you haven't played since Phantom Liberty released. Or if you're on PC, you can download the New Game Plus mod that I mentioned before, which is a ton of fun and is the gameplay you've been seeing in this video. It's pretty wild to think that Cyberpunk 2077 is now almost 5 years old. It will be in December at least. And yet here we are with a new major update for the game. CD Projekt Red previously called Update 2.1 the last significant content drop this game would see, but of course that wasn't the full truth. We then got Update 2.2. Now 2.3 is finally here, and it feels like the developers are quietly giving the game a graceful, celebratory send-off, even if they haven't explicitly said it's the final update. Could there be something more coming later this year for Cyberpunk 2077? Maybe it's something special marking the game's 5-year anniversary in December. It's definitely possible, and at this point, nothing would surprise fans. While of course PC, PS5, and Xbox players get this update right away when it released on July 17th, Switch 2 owners will unfortunately have to wait a bit longer for the update. CD Projekt Red says the port needs additional time, but it's coming very soon. Meanwhile, the game is also launching on macOS for the first time, available through the Mac App Store as well as for players who already own the game on Steam, GOG, or Epic Games Store. What started as one of gaming's most controversial launches back in 2020 has now become one of its most compelling redemption arcs. With Update 2.3, Cyberpunk 2077 isn't just maintaining momentum here, it's expanding its world, deepening its systems, and rewarding both loyal fans and curious newcomers to the game alike. Whether you're returning to Night City for the 10th time like myself, or driving in for the first time via PS Plus, the update is a reminder that Cyberpunk 2077 still has a lot of new stories to tell, fresh toys to play with, and miles of neon-lit roads to explore in Night City. For this section of the video, let's get into audience inquiries where you can submit your questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, or ideas for the video. We had 6 audience write-ins for this video, but if you want to write in, head over to the post tab on my channel. That's where the thread for upcoming videos will be posted if you're interested in that, of course. The first write-in comes from Bizzer, and they said, "I love the new features they added and all the bugs they fixed, but I really wish they could have done more. I was hoping for the robot-like arm that we see others like Silverhand use. Maybe even more stuff to do during I really want to stay at your house." Those all sound like cool additions to the game, and of course this isn't the last update for Cyberpunk 2077, so hopefully we get some of these features in future updates for the game. And I know a ton of people have requested more visual or any at all visual cyberware for their characters. And the game director, I believe he's the game director, Paul Sasko, has posted on Twitter a few times asking what customization option players would like to see added to the game. So maybe stuff like this is coming in future updates. And of course there was the rumor, at least speculation, of new romance content being added to the game because I believe it was the Polish voice actress for Judy. She was posting some teases about something for Cyberpunk. So maybe we get something like that in future updates as well. The second write-in comes from FlashFM_. radio, and they said, I want Moon DLC so bad, I felt more like in space in the evil ending than ever in Starfield, lol. So yeah, the Moon DLC would have been really cool, and it'd be interesting to see a new area in the Cyberpunk universe. But of course that DLC was scrapped, and we probably won't see it in Cyberpunk 2077. But fingers crossed for Cyberpunk 2, I really want to go to the moon. The next writing comes from Gaming Guy 1003, and they said, I really hope we get more updates in the future. This one adds a lot of cool stuff, but I wish they could have added more to it. And of course, I'd love to see a ton of new stuff added to Cyberpunk 2077, and these updates seem to be smaller in scope. Of course, it's not the 2.0 update, but with the 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3 updates, they all seem to have a sort of similar scope, so this is the kind of size for the updates I'd probably expect going forward. The next writing comes from Cody OOT, and this is a bit of a long one, so I'm gonna have to shorten it a bit. You said, I love the idea of the new patch. We even get some new stuff instead of just bug fixes. People are mad because you think we aren't getting enough stuff. It's a free update and they didn't even have to do it. And those seldomly feature a full-on expansion. You pay for those. To those who wanted New Game Plus or third-person view, honestly, I admire your dedication. It would have been cool if they even gave it to us, but I'm not mad about it. And of course, features like third-person and New Game Plus probably won't come to this game. It'd be Cyberpunk 2 if they ever get added. I mean, they've said they're not going to add New Game Plus, but I really want it to be added to the game. In third-person view, Cyberpunk 2077 was never made to be played in third person. So first-person makes sense for this game, but I do hope they add a third-person view for Cyberpunk 2. But yeah, we should probably keep our expectations in check for future updates like 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, and all that stuff, because they will have a similar scope to these other 0.1 updates, or whatever you want to call them. These aren't full-on expansions, they're kind of fixes and adding stuff back to the game that wasn't originally, or I guess was originally cut from the game. The next writing comes from Takutsuna, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, but you said, every time I get my mods working perfectly. And yeah, I agree, but I love the new updates for the game, but I hate having to go through and update my mods and figuring out which ones aren't working. But I haven't even done that yet. I haven't recorded gameplay for this video, so depending on what you're seeing on screen is if I got my mods to work correctly or not. If it's some older footage that was in a previous video or new footage that I was actually able to record today here in about an hour or so. The last writing comes from Green Eyes Samurai, and they said, it's really not that deep. Most people are disappointed with this patch because of how CDPR hyped up this patch and delayed it, which built anticipation. I'm still grateful to be getting updates for Cyberpunk, especially since they are free. This is definitely not the final patch. And I agree, it's definitely not the final patch. We're getting some more update for Cyberpunk 2077, and I can't wait to see what they add to the game. If it's the 5-year anniversary or a new anime update for Edgerunners 2, I cannot wait for Edgerunners 2. But yeah, they did delay it, but it's because they wanted it to work correctly. They'd even said in that tweet that it's the same scope as 2.2. So expectations to be measured for all future updates. They'll be about the same size as this, unless we ever get a 3.0 update. Of course, the 2.0 update was huge and added Phantom Liberty for a paid expansion, of course. But yeah, it won't be a super gigantic, huge major patch unless they actually add a new expansion to the game, which I highly doubt at this point. That's all the write-ins for this video, and like I said before, if you want to write in, head over to the post tab on my channel. All the threads for future videos will be posted there. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all the latest Cyberpunk news. And if you're looking for something else to watch, click one of the videos you're seeing on screen right now. I will see you there. Also, a huge thank you to all the amazing channel members.